Competition, the dirty word of internet marketing. So many entrepreneurs think that competition is not a good word because it implies that you're pitting yourself against someone else. And if you take an abundant mindset like me, you know that there are plenty of clients to go around, and there are going to be clients that are right for you that may not be right for someone else, and vice versa. However, we still want to look at our competition because it actually gives you, when you look at your competition, it gives you really good information about how to describe the value of your services. So, how I define competition is whatever choices your prospects have to solve their problem or to attempt to solve their problem other than hiring you. So, doing it themselves is one of those options. So, when you're examining your competition, you want to include that. So what I do with participants in the branding game is a competition analysis. And it's very, very simple. Essentially, you're going to list out the different competitors that you have. So the do-it-yourself is one of them, and then maybe someone else in your industry, maybe other options. Maybe it's an online option, an app, a tool, reading books. Like, just look at the different options that your prospect would have and make a list of about 5. Then what you're going to do is you're going to compare how the competition does things versus you. And we're going to look at a couple different areas. If you are familiar with the trailblazing trifecta, this will really help you look at what areas to consider. So the trailblazing trifecta is philosophy, so that's your point of view; methodology, which is the way you solve the problem and why you do it that way; and then the promise, which is the end result that your clients will get from doing things the way you recommend. So that's just the synopsis. Obviously, there's a lot more content out there that I've taught about the trailblazing trifecta, but what you want to do for your competition is, for each competitor, you're going to look at their philosophy. So what is their point of view on the problem? What is their philosophy about how they run their business? And then how do you compare? So when we're comparing, we're looking at what are the advantages of looking at things their way? What are the advantages of looking at things my way? What are the cons? So what are the disadvantages? What are the disadvantages of looking at things their way? What are the disadvantages of looking at things your way? Or what objections might there be? So when you're doing this, you're looking at, or you're really developing the language of your philosophy, for one, and 2, how to describe the differences, not in a way that puts anyone down, but really so that the right clients know who they resonate with. And if you're not communicating these things, then you're really missing out on an opportunity to really connect with those right clients. So I already said philosophy. You're going to do the same exact thing for methodology. So that means you're going to look at the way they work. This might be how their programs are structured. It might be the modalities that they're using. It might be the steps that they're taking. And again, what are the advantages of doing things that way? What are the disadvantages? What might the objections be? What are the differences from a neutral perspective? And then promise. So what is the result that they're promising? What is the result that you're promising? Why is that great? How could it be improved? What are the disadvantages? So you're basically just looking at the different angles of these different aspects of your brand, which is what makes you the right choice for the right people, and creating language around it. And as participants in the branding game go through this exercise, they really realize, it's not that they didn't realize before, but it clicks for them how valuable they really are. So how really good at what they do they are, and why clients really should work with them. And you have really tangible language that you can use in your marketing to talk about those things. Whether or not you mention what your competition does, you can still talk about the advantages of doing things your way. And what I find is that by approaching things from this angle, you come up with different answers than if I were to just ask you, what are the advantages of doing things your way? What is your point of view, and who would that resonate with? So when you ask questions that are straight on in that way, you get more obvious answers than if you're considering it from a kind of a different perspective. So in the branding game, I do this a lot where we'll look at a topic from a couple different angles without you being really consciously aware of it, but then everything kind of comes together in the end. So you might not know the thought process behind why we do things in a certain order and why, I'm asking certain questions, but the subconscious clicks that need to happen, the little aha moments, and you start to integrate the language into your brand, it just happens naturally. And this is one of the ways that you can do that. So this is how you can steal, you're not really stealing, but you're using your competition to create language that's really going to help sell your services. So I encourage you to go in and do this now on your own and see what kind of language you come up with.